For the system administrator, first we need to communicate to the Raspberry Pi via SSH or Secure Shell protocol. Logging in as the administrator or admin, it will prompt for the password. After input of the administrator password, we can then proceed on running the administrator Python script. It will again ask for the password for the admin. After correct password, it will then output the command line interface of the administrator. The first option of the administrator function is adding locker compartments. By selecting this option, we can modify the current compartment count that is recognized in the main firmware code. The window in the right side opens the main firmware code, and as you can see, the current compartment count is 2. If we want to expand or add more compartments, we want to modify this variable. If we want to add more compartments, let's say 2 more compartments, as you can see, I already have here 2 additional solenoid locks installed. So by selecting option 1, add locker compartments, first it will display the current compartment count, which is 2, and input number of compartments added. In our case, it's 2. This will then modify the changes in the main firmware. Let's verify it by opening the main firmware code. As you can see, the current compartment count now is 4. So based on the value of the compartment count variable, the firmware code will automatically assign the I2C address and the corresponding compartment bits. The second option in the administrator function is unlocking a compartment or all compartments. In this task, we also use the 2 added solenoid locks that we used from the previous option. And if you enter letter A, each of the compartments is unlocked one at a time. So now we revert back our setup to the original 2 compartments. To unlock only compartment 1, the administrator simply enters the compartment number and the corresponding compartment unlocks. And to unlock compartment 2, the administrator inputs compartment 2 and the corresponding compartment unlocks. And if all compartments, again, letter A must be entered. And the third option in administrator function is printing transaction history. Every time there's a parcel drop-off or parcel retrieval transaction, the Raspberry Pi records this in a separate log file. The administrator has the option to view this in the administrator script. Selecting this option outputs another several options. Choosing today's transaction prints all the transaction in the current date. So as you can see, there's only one transaction in the today's transaction. So each line corresponds to a single transaction with the information such as the date, the time, the type, either drop-off or retrieval, the client's name, or the one that requests the transaction, and as well as the transaction ID. Another option is to print the transaction history of a specific date. The administrator must input the date followed in a specific format. This then prints all the transactions in that specific date. And for the last option in the print transaction history is the specific date range input. So the administrator can input a specific date range and each of the transaction per day is printed. The last step in the administrator function is sending push notification to the mobile app users using Firebase chat messaging. This is primarily used whenever the administrator wants to inform or notify the mobile app users that the parcel locker system is currently unavailable for service due to system maintenance, system override, and etc. So for the first test is to send push notification to all courier users. The script will first ask for the notification title, then followed by the notification body message. In this particular case, we want to inform all courier users that the parcel locker is currently full and is unavailable for parcel drop-off. After constructing the message, the push notification must only be sent to the couriers, not to the recipient. And now the same thing for sending push notifications only for the recipient. And in this particular case, we want to inform all our recipient users that the QR code scanner in the parcel locker system is currently unavailable for parcel retrieval. After constructing and submitting the message, only the recipient users should receive the push notification message. And in cases where there is a system modification, we want to inform both the couriers and the recipients that the parcel locker system is currently unavailable for service due to a system maintenance or system modification. After constructing and submitting the message, both the courier and the recipient should receive the push notification message.